Our last day of content from the FORSEE Study Tour was held in the city of Oaxaca, which is a really vibrant city with a lot of street art. We were coming on to the 1st of November, which is Day of the Dead. So all sorts of stuff everywhere we look. We started our day at the church of San Domingo de Guzman that I talked about the day before. We got to enter into the beautiful church, but we were really there because in the church grounds is an amazing, absolutely amazing ethnobotanical garden that's maintained by the government. One of the first plants we saw in the garden was teosinte. This is the wild progenitor of corn and so important to human culture everywhere. There were other important food crops like chilies and squash. There were tons of cool plants throughout the garden, which was organized by climate type. So you had areas with cactus and dry forest, areas with wetter trees from wetter places. All of the vegetation, all the plants they chose came from the state of Oaxaca and came from 1900 or fewer meters. So that's, I don't know, maybe 6,200 feet or lower. We did our tour of the ethnobotanical garden with someone who knew it really well, and so we learned a lot from him as we went around the garden. The next stop of the morning was at a fancy furniture store that was also run by the Zapotec community and also female run, which is pretty cool. It specialized in furniture that was made at the factory that we had seen the day before when we were up in the mountains. So we got to re-see some of the people we had met previously. It was fun seeing the final product that we'd seen as rough drafts up at the factory. And like everywhere else in Oaxaca, this business was getting ready for Day of the Dead. We also learned that the community is bottling and selling water from their very clean aquifers. We had our first free time after this, about an hour and a half after the last discussion of the day. So I shot off to the central market and did a little bit of walking around town to see what I could see and get to know Mexico a little better. I saw street performers and so much delicious food. Quite accidentally, I ran into this enormous street art installation by a local artist called Procesión Tiempo de los Gigantes, Procession, Time of the Giants. Then I got a little lost and I barely made it back in time for the final group dinner. And I'm so glad I didn't miss dinner. We went to this place with a fancy local chef that specialized in a creative twist to local dishes. So there were tortillas and salsa and a lot of moles, kind of ground up. I had a pepian, which is green mole with quail. Unfortunately, they didn't light it on fire like they did with this cactus leaf dish, but it was still so delicious. Then it was time to say goodbyes to everyone. Fittingly, our last goodbye was in front of the Iglesia Santo Domingo de Guzman.